Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the RedOut Podcast.
So like a lot of you, I get those annoying phone calls, the Medicare, Medicaid. But the real wake-up call for me was when I ordered 2 computers from Amazon. But I didn't order 2 computers from Amazon, you say. Oh, somebody else did. Yeah, that was a close call for me. I realized that my personal information was out there, and I was vulnerable. But how are so many people able to get a hold of my information? One reason might be irresponsible companies. For example, AT&T revealed that over 73 million customer records, both former and existing, were exposed on the dark web. They recommended those affected use strong passwords, monitor account activity, and consider credit freezes or fraud alerts from credit bureaus. That's a lot of work for us to do because one company couldn't keep their data safe. This is why I use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura does all of this for me, and best of all, it's all in one app. If my info was compromised in the AT&T data breach, I wouldn't worry because Aura would already be protecting me. Don't sacrifice your privacy because it's a chore to keep up with it. Aura makes it easy. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my information safe. I value my privacy, and so should you. You guys should check out Aura. You can go to aura.com/RedOut, or that link is in the description below to start your free trial. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring today's video. And let's get back to that Hilltopper action.
Yes, thanks again to Aura for sponsoring this episode. Welcome in, guys. Dev and Matt here. We're coming at you on another summer episode. It is hard for us to kind of get our schedules lined up in the summer. We're kind of crazy. So, Matt, how's it been going for you, buddy?
Oh, it's good, man. If you want an update on today, we sprung a leak in our office. And don't know how long it's been sitting there. I'm not sure we went in that room yesterday, but big old stain in the middle of the floor that we've got to figure out. So I've relocated to our conference room so I can record because my office sounds like an airplane hangar.
Leaks are like the worst thing, and it's
Oh, yeah.
worse when you find them. When my daughter was like a year or two old, I went down into our basement, and it's a rare thing for me to go down there. So I go down in the basement, and I hear just this like, psst, and I was like, why does it sound like steam? And I went around the corner, and my hot water heater, one of the pipes coming off it, had been leaking a
Oh, no.
pinhole sized leak, which had put a hole about that big, about the size of a quarter, in our drywall behind it. And I don't know how long it had been doing it. So, yeah, of course, then it starts the whole, I got to figure this out because it's a weekend, and who's going to be able to get a plumber on the weekend, So
True.
without paying an unreasonable amount. But anyway, I got some notes here. I guess like the biggest news for people of our age is that, where did my notes go? Is that Westerns, our NCAA football games are back, which is the biggest thing for us, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Wish
that's
I
the
could
most
get it.
exciting thing for me. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Now the
I'm working on the
extras,
wife. I'm trying to convince her that
exactly. Why not?
we must have it.
Yeah,
I've tried the
why not?
happiness kind of angle. I've tried the it's
I'll
not that
leave you
much.
alone.
Maybe I need to emphasize that more. Hey, this
Yeah,
means less of me.
Yes. You don't have to deal with me just as much. But for us, at least, it kind of shows the whole NIL has actually saved NCAA football, video games, and that's the greatest thing. I'm not a big fan of EA Sports in general because of their issues with what's the term for it? Basically, like everything they're going to nickel and dime you for.
Oh, okay.
So
Sure.
if you want the certain Western helmet, you got to pay for it or something. That's how they did some other games, and they actually ruined them. But hopefully they've learned their lessons, and everything's a lot better. But my brother, I did talk to him about it today. He's a big gamer, and him and his buddy are really excited about it. And of course, my brother's excited about being able to play Western, who is actually ranked number 80 in NCAA 25. Is that a good preseason poll for Western? Is that a good gauge of Western strength, you think?
I mean, it may be underselling it a little bit, but I don't think, and I'm sure they could post that on the bulletin board if they want for just a little bit of material, but I think it's reasonable. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you don't know where we're at, and there's some questions within the roster, and you don't know. Like, we did lose some guys in the transfer portal, stuff like that. So, I mean, 80 is close to right. I think I'd give a range on Western of where it may end up is about 40 to 85. It just depends on how the years go, or how the year goes. But I think 80 is within the range of reasonable. I think it's a little low.
Okay, so this article comes from a fan of ours, and I cannot remember the magazine off the top of my head, but they do a preseason of all the college football teams. I'll let you, if you want to pause, if you're on YouTube, you can pause it here and check out what this opposing Conference USA assistant coach said about Western. Basically, Western's biggest opponent this year is going to be Liberty, according to this. And then, like Matt said, you don't really know what to expect out of Western. Here is the depth chart so far. It looks like about 8 seniors on offense and 8 to 10 on defense there. Just pause it and look over those. Some of those names are going to look a lot really familiar. Some of those may not. But yes, just go through those real quick. I'm just kind of doing this really quickly, guys, so you can kind of see what outside sources are saying for Western. Like I said, pause and read, and then it's kind of like Matt said, and then we have the schedule. I'll pull it up. This is the 2024 schedule down here at the bottom, and then our 23 results beside that. But it's kind of like Matt said. We have a whole new quarterback. We've our receivers gone. Amazing receiver, quarterback's gone, and we have other holes in offense and defense that we have to try and fill. So you kind of got to gauge that. Matt, what are you thinking as far as schedule? What's the highlights? What's the lowlights? Where should we do good? Where should we do bad?
Well, that first one's going to be a tough one.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the guy.
I don't know, because he's got a new coach and they got a new system, and maybe they pee down their leg. I don't know. I'm hoping they do.
Maybe he doesn't know how to talk to Southerners or something. I don't know, but anyway, he was at Washington, right? So I mean, who knows? Maybe. So yeah, I mean, obviously Alabama. It's exciting to play a team like that. Obviously, you get to see how good you really are right out of the gate. But then again, you also get to see how good you really are right out of the gate. So there's that. I think it's actually an interesting schedule, stronger than some of these other years. We've had some years where there really isn't anything that fascinating on the schedule besides some conference games that you think might be interesting. And they end up being pretty good games, but you don't look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, this schedule is wonderful. Well, we've got 2 Power 5 schools on the schedule. You got Eastern, your old rival, even though it should be a blowout, it's still an old rival. And then Toledo's a really nice, like, equal matchup, G5 type of thing. And it should be
Mac.
a MAC opponent. They're comparable to Western, give or take. I mean, it's a nice kind of juicy matchup for 2 pretty equal programs. You don't know until you get into the season. Like, one of the teams could absolutely bomb, or they could have tons of injuries by that point. But it's a game in Bowling Green on a Saturday at kind of nightish. It's at 6:00, and should be an interesting matchup. And then I think the main thing about the schedule just in general is it's just tough. I mean, the non-conference is tough. You've got at Middle, which is a rivalry, and we sometimes have some trouble with them on the road. Not lately, but it happens. I think Sam Houston's going to be a lot better. UTEP's supposed to be decent. Kennesaw State's kind of somebody that we should handle, but you never know. They're brand new. New Mexico State at New Mexico State, that's always hard at altitude. La Tech could be good. Liberty, and then Jacksonville State. Like, where's the respite? Where's the chance to take a break? EKU, Kennesaw State. Other than that, it's like these are tougher games. Like, I think Western should absolutely win 6 games as a bare minimum. I think that's for sure the minimum that you should expect. Below that, you should probably be pissed if you're a WKU fan, but don't be shocked if it's a little more ugly on the record side of things this year. It could easily happen.
And I think that could go one of two ways. I think you're right in a way. We could have a pretty rough record, but last year's record was a lot better than I think we thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah.
We started out the year and we're like, oh, this is we're going to do a New England Patriots, go undefeated and do all this great stuff. And then we did not whatsoever. And then we had some games where we really skidded past the finish line and we shouldn't have won, but we had some games that we lost that we should have won. But I think we actually do have a bye week after, just looking at the calendar, after Boston College and after Sam Houston. It's not marked on ESPN, but a lot of the times that you mentioned weren't marked on ESPN either. They're just TBD. So,
right.
But Alabama's marked for sure. Eastern and Middle are all marked, and UTEP. Basically, all the games that are on ESPN are going to be marked because they're like, "Yep, we know you're going to play this time, and you're going to like it." Eastern is Coach Wells still at Eastern? Walter Wells?
Yeah.
Or do you know?
Unless he was released or quit within the last couple months, he's still there.
Okay. Of course, love Coach Wells, great guy. He's did a great job at Western, and he's doing a great job at Eastern. And I hope he's all having the best health and everything's going great for him.
True.
As far as schedule goes, Alabama's going to be a tough game. Eastern, I don't think. Coach Wells could get his guys in shape and ready. That could be a South Florida from last year, or that could be I'm trying to think of the other one from last year that we struggled with that we shouldn't have. Never mind. Anyway, but when you just have those just moments where you're just kind of like, middle, it's kind of up in the air as far as I'm concerned. They've had horrible years and they've had good years, and I think the rivalry.
We have a new coach.
Yeah, well, the rivalry just kind of makes it. Are they going to show up or are they not going to show up?
Yeah, the thing with middle, like I have respect for Derek Mason. I think he knows what he's doing, especially defensively. He was at Vanderbilt and they were decent, for a little bit, respectable, and then things didn't go well. The main thing was their offense kind of sucked, but their defense was excellent. I think with the Dowdy offense and Forrest Lamp at tackle, I can't remember if he played against Vanderbilt, but anyway, whatever. I think maybe he got rolled up on and didn't play part of the game. Doesn't matter. I think it was like 14-12. We beat them, but barely. And their defense was solid, but the offense I question. And also, middle was a mess, and Stockstill kept middle standing stock still for over a decade. And
since we were there,
how Mason comes in, he's been impressive. He's saying the right things, all that stuff. You definitely don't. It's an unknown how good they're going to be, but for us, little tiny program like middle, it gives them a lot of momentum heading into the new year. So bless their hearts, they might actually win something eventually. But I don't I think it should still be a game that Western wins, but who knows? They may be one of the best teams in the conference immediately.
They could. I know, like I said in that little article, that it was pointing to Liberty to be the team to beat this year. I'm imagining that they lost a lot of players as far as their schedule goes.
They
As far, go ahead.
they on the Liberty front, they lost a few guys. I think they lost an offensive lineman to transfer and some stuff like that. They bring back the quarterback and they bring back a lot of people. They seem to feel good about their defense. So I think Liberty's expected to be far and away the best team in the conference. I think it's WKU or Jacksonville State is kind of like the 2A and 2B to kind of compete for that last spot in the championship game. And then you never know once you get in the championship game. You never know in a head-to-head matchup. Maybe Liberty doesn't match up like they did last year. Maybe the quarterback takes a big step back. Maybe TJ Finley, who I believe is probably your starter for the Tops. I don't know. Could be Caden Velkamp. Sorry, South Warren fans, but it's probably TJ Finley. And
Matt picked Finley over Velkamp because he went to Greenwood, just to be clear.
oh Lord, which turned into South Warren. So I mean, whatever. But yeah, I don't care about the high school stuff. I mean, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. But whatever, man. Whatever. Allen County. Who's your favorite Allen County player, buddy? Whatever.
Myself.
Yeah, you were the greatest. But no, I mean, seriously, I'll cover the subject now because I know we're going to get questions about it. Why ain't Velkamp playing? And he still, I guess, could win the job. Like, you got to get all the way through camp. Finley could crap his pants all the way through camp, and Velkamp could be your starter.
Look at Doge or whatever his name was. Ended up at Troy.
Yeah.
Everything that ended up going into camp, everybody was like, "Well, he's the man. He's the man." And then, wasn't it Reed beat him out for that one? Am I not mistaken in that? I'm sorry. Everything starts to run together.
Was it
after so many
Zappy?
years.
It might have been Zappy.
Was that Zappy or Reed? Because I thought. But anyway, let's see if I can Google it.
Honestly, I forgot, man. I didn't get to look at some of this stuff in the background. I didn't know he'd be coming up either.
But anyway, but you're talking about WKU football and everything. Finley could be the man for the job. He may not be the man for the job. I mean, Coach Helton, he's done a great job as far as the only speed bump he's really had was Piggy, and I think he was locked in on that one. He didn't have a lot of choice.
I guess it was Austin Reed. It was Austin Reed's first year. You're right.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was
My
Reed.
bad.
I thought Zappy was
My bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I know y'all go ahead and rip us apart. We don't know what we're talking about. I'm sorry. We picked up some random fact from 2 years ago. I got a job.
Yes. No, we don't have
I have a life
at all. But anyway, I mean, like I said, you never know going into camp how things are going to work out, how some kids are going to work better with systems over others. And, we've got the new system coming in with Fields. Am I not mistaken in that? Isn't a new offensive coordinator? What's his last name?
Yeah, Will Friend.
I'm sorry,
Friend. That's all right. He's from Mississippi State, so he's kind of that Mike Leach air raid kind of coaching tree, and a well-known name. I've heard of him actually before, and a lot of people probably have heard his name in a lot of good circles. I mean, he's a solid, like, why is this guy here at Western type of hire? And that's the kind of splash that you want. I mean, the guy should know what he's doing. He's got a lot of really good things on his resume. So I think it'll be interesting to see how much control he has, and does Helton try to take control of some things or let him just completely do his own thing. But that's a really nice hire, and year that we could have some shaky O-line question marks. I think you'll have some stability there. We've lost several O-linemen in the last few years, and you got to feel good about the O-line and hopefully the offense in general. We've had some offensive coordinators that were a little young, that were basically GAs that got offensive coordinator jobs. And so I think this is a really nice piece to put in on the coaching staff that hopefully it'll pay some dividends. We'll see.
Yeah. Summertime is just a lot of predicting and a lot of assumptions. And, come September 1st, or what was it? I'll say, September 1st, because that'll be the day after Alabama. We're probably going to be made asses on our predictions, and that's fine. That's the dangers of assumptions. But with Westerns, I'm kind of looking forward to Finley and Veltkamp's battle. Western's going to win either way. And we got Dalvin Smith's going to be catching for them. So I think that Western could definitely be I think Western could easily, I won't say easily, I'll say Western could slide into first place in Conference USA. I think Western could beat Liberty. I do believe Western has the upside potential to go that way. And then, we could have the upside potential to end up fourth. We could, just waste our potential, so to speak, and just not perform like we should. It's just a lot of wait and sees at this point. But Matt, what are you thinking as far as Western's going to finish out this year?
Well, I think my honest prediction is 8-4.
What's your dishonest position?
Oh, well, it depends on if I'm being negative that day. I might say that we'll go 6-6 and have some unexpected losses, or if I'm feeling good and Pollyanna, like I've been accused of being before. I think the potential is up there for 11-1. I don't think you're going to beat two Power 5 teams, including Alabama. That would be, I would absolutely be on cloud nine, and it would be the most amazing time at WKU ever in our lifetime. If WKU was to go undefeated against this schedule, but that ain't happening. You're going to drop one or two, and that's okay.
I think a 10-1 is possible. I don't think Boston College has been good since the 90s.
No, but I mean, and I have not done a lot of research on Boston College. I don't know jack about Boston College lately.
Why not? I mean,
because I haven't needed it, Devin. I haven't needed it. I'll know my stuff about Boston College when we get to, freaking camp or something. Like, we're not even there yet. So how about you just cool your jets, and it'll be okay if we don't know jack shit about Boston College, okay?
It's going to be your homework is Boston College film. I'm going to have to make some calls and get some Boston College film for you.
You can jump off a cliff and pretend like you got a parachute, bud.
Go play in the street, right? I think it's possible. I think 9-2 is a possibility. 9-2, so 8-3. I mean, all of these are definitely possibilities.
Buddy, there's 12 games. This ain't one AA, bro.
11. What did I miss? 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's 12 games in a FBS schedule, but
dumbass. Yes, I counted wrong. I didn't take off my shoes. Listen, my bad.
For y'all at home, Devin's stuck in the 2006s.
Yeah, I counted. Yeah, it's 12. Sorry. Western could definitely go 10-2, 11-1. It depends on how things fall. I think injuries are going to play into that too. We do have Liberty towards the end of the season. So at least with it being towards the end of the season, we don't have the excuse of they didn't know the system. Western, hasn't really gotten the offense down, the defense down, yada, yada, yada. At that point in the season, either we're dealing with injuries if we're losing that one, or they're a better team. I probably won't admit that at the time. I'll blame the refs, but I don't know how that's going to age. But,
I admire your self-awareness, Devin. And also, a calculated risk because everyone will forget you said that 4 months ago. So it'll still work out. You can still blame the refs.
Yeah, that's what I planned on doing anyway. So,
Good for you.
horrible calls, play calling was atrocious. What's wrong? But like you said, I think Liberty, Jacksonville State, Sam Houston. As long as we don't have the debacle the Lady Tops did in New Mexico State, that'll be should be a pretty good game. No fighting and arguing with ourselves.
Oh yeah.
La Tech is
Yes.
usually tough. La Tech's usually a tough game. We will be playing them at Western at noon on November 16th. La Tech usually comes to play with us. They're not usually a team that backs down. It's usually a tough game. Even if they're not, quote, good that year, it's usually a tough game. And it's a noon game. So, depending on how the team's playing, hopefully we can get some fans in the stands and kind of pack the house on that one, especially with CBS Sports Network. I don't know much about Kennesaw State. I cannot tell you
They
about
should
that one.
be they should be somebody that we handle. They're definitely a true FCS transition. Like Sam
Okay.
Houston last year was different. They had a really, really good defense and they just had no
Yeah.
offense. They could have easily won half their games if they had an offense. But they were so terrible to start the year.
I think that was a game that Reed tried to carry too much, if I'm not mistaken. It's been over a year or almost under a year, but long enough that I don't remember the full details. But I think it was 17-10, or was that Jacksonville State we lost or we won? Lost? I don't
Jacksonville
remember.
State was low scoring and they came back. We didn't lose to Sam Houston. We beat Sam Houston 28-23. It was close. So I mean
I got
they
it
were
right here.
coming along. The thing about Sam Houston, they were.
Yeah, we
Let's
lost
see.
Jacksonville State. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Let's see, we led the whole time against Sam Houston, except for they took the lead in the third quarter, and then we
And
immediately
then
kind of took it back. But
and then La Tech was one that we won 35-28. I think we came from behind on that one too,
no, they
if I'm
did.
not
They
mistaken.
almost came back. It was 35
Oh,
nothing in the
that's
first half.
right.
We were
That's
murdering them, and
right.
then we allowed them to nearly tie it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because everybody went home.
Yeah, well, remember last year it seemed like, yeah, everybody went home. Last year it seemed like we couldn't put two halves together offensively. Like we'd have an incredible half and then completely just crap the bed in the
Yeah.
second half, or there'd be like a huge second and third quarter chunk where nothing happened and the other team kind of got a foothold. So hopefully that's resolved. You know,
I hope so.
we'll see how that works out. I mean, as far as like if you're talking about roster questions and stuff like that, there are question marks kind of everywhere, and that's the way it is in the modern era with the transfer portal. But I think Helton's built up enough trust that you can feel pretty good that they've got enough that something will work out at most positions. Last year, your problem was you had so many injuries. You had an injury at every position at one point where people actually missed at least one game at literally every position group. So who knows? Obviously, like where could WKU have been if we didn't have all those injuries? Like you had at one point early in the year, you had like the top 6 receivers unable to play for one game. You know, you had some guys that never saw the field on defense. You had Upton Stout, who thankfully is back, but he was injured. Anthony Johnson was another guy that missed 3 games last year, and I think he was the leading tackler despite missing 3 games. Like there was a lot of missed opportunity just because of the injury issues. Austin Reed was hurting all year and finally sat out for the bowl game, and he got kind of crucified for that. but he was beat up all year and he warriored through until the very last game. And then it was a kind of a business decision. And then we found out about Caden Veldkamp. So it all worked out. But there was, and we had a great year, especially for all those injuries, but my goodness, it just kind of makes you, I don't know if it makes you sick, because it's kind of like, gosh, we did about what we were supposed to despite the injuries, and Liberty may have won anyway. But if Western was healthy, it would have been a heck of a game against Liberty.
Yeah.
Toe to
Yeah.
toe.
And I think Western missed an opportunity last year with that one, but like you said, injuries kind of played into it. Now there are some basketball news that you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
let you
just
get into that real quick.
Yeah, some quick footnotes on some stuff. I think, well, first of all, WKU Baseball held a lot of their roster and all that, so there's a lot of excitement there. Hank Pelonis taking over and all that. They have either it's been announced by them or by, kind of cobbling together information from other schools, releasing their schedules. Western has, we believe, most of its non-conference pretty much figured out. There may be a couple late additions, but they should be announcing a schedule anytime. So what we know of for the non-conference for basketball, and this is quite improved, and you'll see that as I go through here. But last year it was not as strong. The end of Stansbury's tenure wasn't as strong. This will be a legitimate schedule that WKU could possibly flirt with an at-large type of opportunity if they can execute. So WKU plays Wichita State at home, at Grand Canyon, which is generally going to be a top 100 matchup. Lipscomb at home, nice, 60-mile local interest type of matchup. Jackson State at home, then at Kentucky. And those are all games in.
I couldn't get that one at home.
Well, they call them the Pussycats for a reason. So
they're gonna. I think sidebar. I think Cal has really put the crank on them this year with taking all the players from, or getting players, siphoning players from Kentucky to Arkansas. Let me say that.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing all that stuff, but those are all the games in November, kind of spread out throughout the month. And they'll officially announce all this stuff in a release sometime soon. I would think. Then getting into December after finals week, we're at Evansville. That'll be an interesting kind of sneaky tough matchup on the road. Never really do well at Evansville. Tennessee State at home. Murray State at home. Nice to have Murray back in so we can slap that ass. Seattle U at home. That's another kind of sneaky top 100, 150 type of matchup. Even though you don't know much about them. And at Michigan, which is really interesting, kind of juicy, interesting matchup there. And then also Kentucky Wesleyan will be played sometime. We don't know exactly what date, really at all. So that's what we know.
And sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but these are still up in the air under negotiations. So
they're not completely official, but most of those are pretty locked in. So we'll see it. I mean, that's a heck of a schedule. And so definitely mention that people know in case they haven't seen, because WKU hasn't announced all that. They have announced the conference schedule. And it obviously it's a conference schedule, like you're playing everybody, and Kennesaw State is added, which is currently good basketball program. So I think Conference USA overall, a lot of sports is improved. So,
yep, sounds good. And I know you had a volleyball note you wanted to mention as well.
Well, volleyball, I mean, again, it looks like Western should be good again. A lot of good players coming back and everything. I'm pretty sure they've announced their schedule. Yes, they have, and a lot of good games on tap. We play the Kentucky tournament, so it's all Kentucky schools, including the University of Kentucky, the same day that the football team plays Alabama. So we will have a Power Five win on that day. And then they're also playing at a tournament at Michigan State. So that's an interesting one. And they play Marist and they play Loyola Chicago. They play Tennessee at Biddle. So that's a good one. They played Tennessee in the NCAA tournament. I believe that was this last year. So that's an interesting one.
Right.
Yeah. Marquette, that's another nice matchup. Dayton, Illinois. I mean, these are some big potential matchups. I think Dayton was good last year. I think we played them. And this is actually, we've got all three of those teams coming into Diddle for the Hyatt Place Invitational. Like, this is a super nice schedule. You've got the Alyssa Kavanaugh Classic. May she rest in peace. They're playing Arkansas State, Eastern Illinois, Austin P. Those should be pretty winnable matchups. And then you get into your conference. I believe Kennesaw State is a really good addition in women's volleyball. So, yeah, it should be an ever-improving Conference USA women's volleyball. But Western, once again, should be the dominant team. And, maybe they'll break through the Sweet 16, Elite 8 kind of run and or more and really announce themselves on the national stage. But definitely wanted to mention volleyball. It's coming up very soon. Their first game is August 30th. So
I was gonna say, I know their volleyball is kind of, I won't say like handcuffed to football, so to speak, because it's a fall-ish sport. But I think like you said, a successful season is definitely breaking through Sweet 16. I mean, that's more than a success, obviously, but
yeah, make the tournament, win a
think,
game. That's kind of the standard now.
yeah,
After that,
yeah.
like, it would feel disappointing to lose in the round of 64. But
Well,
it's not
I mean, and
unacceptable either.
knock on wood, so to speak. Travis Hudson is definitely not a coach that's going to go anywhere. He's been here long enough. I think I won't say get comfortable with him, but because everybody's got a price. But at least Travis Hudson has a dynasty, so to speak, built up, and he's allowed Western to, Western's thriving volleyball wise. I mean, at
Dude.
least in my opinion, if you're a girl that is good at volleyball in the state of Kentucky, I think you come to Western.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. Some Louisville, UK volleyball coaches would disagree, but we've made it further than you. So,
I mean, you can
anyway.
definitely argue that WKU is just about equal to those programs. I mean, Western's definitely a power. I mean, it's a top 25 program and has been.
We're better. We're better than you. So,
5 to 10,
and we know it.
10 years. We are toppers.
Yes, we topped you.
That is all you need to know.
West side, east side, whatever. Anyway, throwing up gang signs in the middle of the podcast. How's it going, guys? What kind of podcast do you listen to? Do you listen to a Western podcast that throws up the West Side? Yeah.
Hey, by the way, they have like some weird, like this signal.
I don't even know. I don't even know how they do all this. Like,
well,
I was
gonna say on the NCAA football, like, apparently they think that we make W's in the stands or something.
That's right. Yeah. I remember seeing something about that, and I was like, "What is this? What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Wiener.
Yeah. The Happy Hands Club from Napoleon Dynamite.
All I remember is, like, I don't remember if you remember this, the L7 loser, but that's yeah. That's what I remember of those. Yeah, so evidently that's what we do. So just so y'all know, now we have to start doing this because the game told us to.
That's
But
it.
yeah, I don't have a lot else. I've been living under a rock, so I just came up for air, and I figured I'd do a
Couple more.
podcast. So,
I got a
you
couple
got
more for you.
things.
2 more
Okay,
sports
bud.
real quick, just to
Go
make
for
sure
it.
he's updated and all that stuff. Baseball, MLB draft. You had
Oh
3
yeah, I meant to
guys.
talk about that first. But
That's
go
all right.
ahead.
That's all right. I forgive you. MLB draft, 3 guys got drafted. It was Jacob Bimby, Mason Burns, and Grant Burleson. Burleson was drafted by the Astros in the 18th round. Mason Burns was drafted in the 14th round by St. Louis, and Jacob Bimby was taken by the Pirates in the 11th. This is the first time. Say what? You don't like the
I said,
Pirates? um, but yeah, they were. Let's see, it's first time since 2011 that we had 3 draft picks. You throw me off, jerk.
I know I did. I know I did.
But anyway, yeah, first time since 2011, which is freaking 13 years that we've had 3 draft picks, and they were all pitchers. I don't believe we've had 3 pitchers drafted ever. I
Which is
don't know
amazing.
for sure, but that's pretty. It's a huge turnaround from the Pulaski era where we couldn't save our lives on the pitching mound. So
Yeah, I was really happy to see that we had 3 baseball players drafted. I mean, even after that great season they had, um, it sounds bad, but I kind of expected somebody to get drafted. That sounds. We had the players, the talent, and hopefully, coach will keep having success like this, and no issues off the field or anything like that. So
yeah, he was, I guess, the other major offseason thing with baseball was he was rumored to be a finalist for the Ohio State job.
oh
So A, it's nice to be in the running for that, but B, hopefully this next year he breaks through before he takes off to somewhere else, which couldn't blame him at all. He's done a heck of a job at Western, and
yeah,
hopefully if and when he leaves, which maybe he won't, but if he does indeed leave, um, hopefully we make a good hire for the next coach and kind of keep the thing rolling. Like Western's really put itself in a completely different position in baseball, and it's really nice to have a program that we can truly feel good about and be proud of, and feel like if you put together a little stronger schedule, you could possibly flirt with like an at-large type of deal, and uh, win a few more of those games, and um, you could have options at the end of the year instead of hoping that you win your conference tournament and get one of the lower seeds.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
You may
see.
talk about women's basketball real quick.
You go right ahead, buddy.
Okay, man. All right. I'm just making sure everybody knows. Women's basketball.
Dad, can you help her find Transylvania?
I'll help her in a little bit. You can go. You can go. I'll be right there. Go ahead. You been eating chocolate? Nuh-uh. Are you sure?
Hey.
You sure you haven't been eating chocolate? You sure?
Hey,
Say
girlfriend. How are you? I'm Mr. Matt.
Hi to Mr. Matt. Yeah, she can't hear you. I got you in my ear.
I got you. Okay. Gosh, she's growing up, man. So
I know,
women's
right?
basketball. Women's basketball, all I was going to say with women's basketball, they've really focused on getting a lot of players, and they should be, I think, the biggest team size wise since we were kids. I mean,
Yeah.
early 2000s. I mean, they should be huge. And Alexis Mead decided to stay and all that. So I think they should finally have the depth. There's really no excuse that Collins can't make that jump and be, if not in the tournament, we better be right there in the championship game, going toe to toe with Middle or Liberty. So just want to mention that on the women's basketball side. Just a couple updates there, and I'm sure their schedule will be coming out soon, and we'll be covering that as it comes out.
Sorry, I was trying not to be distracting with you. Go on downstairs. They've got Transylvania. Go, 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 go. Go watch your show. I'll be there in a second. Shut the door, please. So anyway, yes, it's good to see Western's girls doing well. Always excited about that, and we'll be talking more about them
You sound
towards
like
the
it.
end of football season. Do what? Oh yeah,
I said you sound like it.
yeah.
Always excited about women's basketball.
Well, women's basketball and I mean men's basketball is so far away. It's like talking about college football in spring.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I
a
get
lot
it.
can happen between now and then. And yeah, I know everybody gets excited about schedules and stuff like that. I just don't get as excited as when it's time for it. Is that, I mean, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So on that note, no, just shut it. I'll be there. I'll be down in just a second, dear. So anyway,
How old is she now, man? She 5?
she's 4. She'll be 5
4.
in
Okay.
January.
Okay. I got you.
She starts school next August. So, but yeah, appreciate you all watching, listening. Make sure to do all of the YouTube pleasantries, like, share, and subscribe. It always helps us out. Maybe comment. Tell us which game you're more excited to see this year for Western. Which games you may be going to, basketball, football, which ones you're going to try and get tickets to the most. And we do appreciate our sponsor, Aura. They are a new sponsor, and I think it'll actually be good for us. Definitely with the new VPNs, it does help out. A lot of people do track you. So a lot of companies get paid for that now. If you don't believe me, check Google. But we'll get out of here. We will be back. Maybe try and do like a mid-camp episode before the season starts and kind of let you all know what we're finding out on things. But we will be back, and we'll be talking to y'all, and we'll soon be starting our 8th season with the RedOut Podcast. So
Wow.
big old snowman this year. Last year was 7, so that's the one that comes after that. That's what I learned in high school. So
Did you get that at
yeah.
Allen County? At
Yeah.
ACSHS,
Yeah.
HS?
Yes. Yeah.
HS.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what we learned in school. So anyway, yeah, but we'll be back. We'll talk some more sports. We'll give you some more updates. Don't check WKU Sports' basketball page for the schedule because it's not there. It is awful. The
It
schedule
says
is
it's 2099,
2099.
right? And it's wrong.
Yeah, it's 2099. There's exhibitions that aren't there. I think one of them was the 5-star gas exhibition. I don't know. It said Marathon Oil, but anyway. Yeah, so who knows? It's not correct. Some intern I mean, it's not like Western has a computer science department. Just saying.
Right. Or,
But yeah,
media, mass media, broadcasting,
no, they don't have
marketing,
any of that. They don't build buildings, 3 or 4 buildings a year, charge a
intercollegiate
lawsuit for
athletic
tuition.
administration that you advertise as being the only one in the country, whatever.
No, nothing like that. But yeah, just check back. I know we keep filibustering here at the end, but yeah, just check back with us. We will talk to you all again. And as always, guys, go Tops.
Go Tops.